When you enter school, you start learning about history, and that follows you through until the day you graduate. However, why is history so important, and why is it a part of that core subject of social studies that you're taught year after year after year? Let's go over some main reasons why history is important. First off, history is entertaining. Why are soap operas so compelling to some? Well, it tells the story of a group of people, and the honest truth is constantly revealed. History is full of those moments, as it really is the collective history of a whole bunch of individuals. And as we know, individuals have their flaws. History is the story or narratives of the human experience. So you can learn about King Henry VIII and all of his wives. And yes, you can also sing some little songs and diddlies about them, but you can also look, was Anne Boleyn guilty? Did she go and have affairs? Should she have been beheaded? You can really dive into the interesting story behind it. There is a reason why Hollywood draws from the history books so often for their scripts. It is entertaining. History also gives us a sense of identity. Each of us is born a part of a culture, a nation, a social group, a region, and even more simply put, a neighborhood. Learning about the history of your area or your nation helps you see why we are the way we are in a general collective sense. Knowing the history of your culture can also help you see why you may think about the world in the way you do. History also helps us understand the present. Knowing history cannot answer all the questions about what is happening right now in the world and why. However, it can give us insight to a lot of it. And in fact, it can help us reduce anxiety about current events by relating them to past events. Say a recession is happening right now, and you're worried about loss of job, retirement, even other aspects of your life. Well, if you go and look at recessions and see kind of typically how long they take, what sectors may experience job loss and things like that, well, you know what then is probably going to come in a holistic sense, and that can reduce some anxiety, which is always good. In terms of helping us understand the present, you can go and look at concepts or things that are really part of your nation. For example, the concept of American freedom. Well, for some, they may define American freedom this way, while others might define it that way. Well, if you really want to jump into that concept, you can go all the way back to England and look at the pursuit of the Magna Carta or the English Civil War, their limited monarchy system, and bring it all the way through the American Revolutionary War and so on as you go and follow the concept of American freedom and how it has been defined over time. If you're looking at modern politics with the Democrats and Republicans going at it, you can think back to the days of the Federalists and Anti Federalists and see how, well, political parties, they just bicker and quarrel and they all seek your vote. When you see how also country borders were drawn after the age of imperialism, you can also see why some conflicts may erupt in certain areas of the world today. History can give you a viewpoint to understand the present, and that's really helpful. Also, it can help you not become complacent about issues that you see presently, because when you learn history, you learn that change is possible. History throughout it shows that change does happen. And you can also look at how the change happened so you know how to push for change today. History gives us critical thinking skills. History can be a corrective for misleading information. If you don't study history, you would not know if someone is actually misleading you. And that can be dangerous in the political aspect if, say, politicians are purposely misleading you. People always have their own version of interpreting the facts, but some people seek to purposely skew them for their own agenda. And it's important that you know to check on these facts to see if the interpretation is accurate. Also, learning history can help you learn how to analyze things better, and it can also help you be able to detect bias easier. History also helps you build tolerance. History, of course, teaches you the history of cultures, groups, religion, so that you can understand it. It helps you understand why people in other countries might be thinking the way that they're thinking. So we see the world as a collection of individuals, of humans simply living their own lives. And it can help you then be more open minded when you are introduced to a new culture group or religion or ethnic group or whatever. You can also see how tolerance has helped build empires over time, like with Cyrus the Great of Persia. And we can also see how intolerance can also be a contributing factor to the fall, like Xerxes II of the same empire. And when he started to favor nativism and kind of threw that tolerance of Cyrus II out the window. And so tolerance is important and it helps us understand the ways of humankind. History also gives a background to other subject areas. When reading a book in English class, the context of the story becomes so much clearer when you understand the history of the events that might be covered in the book. When reading, for example, the book The Heart of Darkness, it may be a bit confusing if you've never read or learned about the genocide of the Congo that was committed by King Leopold II of Belgium. So you might start reading this book and not truly understand what all is going on because you don't have that historical base underneath you. History can also help scientists and mathematicians see the progression and the changes within their field and the thought behind those changes. Economics and political science become much clearer when one can see the history behind their theories and how those theories changed over time. And there's numerous more examples, but history is great at kind of being the motor to the bricks on a building, helping connect everything together. History also helps us to better our future. Now, of course, there is that famous quote: those who do not remember their past are condemned to repeat their mistakes. Those who do not read history are doomed to repeat it. Now, that is a very important quote. However, we should also think that we can use history to better our future. No, we don't want to repeat our mistakes. So that's also good. But we can also see all the right moments in history and we can seek to repeat and replicate those positives that have happened. For example, there's a meme that I saw a while back that basically said math and science can teach you how to create an atomic bomb. However, history teaches you that you should never use it. That's a pretty good summary of that. So we can find good ideas to help us now and in the future by seeing what we have done in the past. So, how have countries handled past recessions? Bringing that topic back up. What was effective? What was not effective? Well, let's copy those effective strategies and get rid of this recession. Let's do that. So, in other words, history helps. History is an important subject area, and that is why we start learning it the minute we enter school and continue learning it until we graduate. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.